So, hi, I'm Tricia. I am the younger of the just two old crabs. And the main purpose of me being here is to tell you how a hermit crab changed my life and to hopefully encourage you to let them change your lives as well. Let's see where to start. First things first.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh.
I'm going to leave.
Oh, okay.
So that you can feel like you're not being watched by me. I'm going to go down there and watch you.
You're amazing. I love you. Especially being around the Stacy, you get a little nervous. Let's see. I'm going to give you a summary of who I am so you can understand how, when I say introvert, we're all introverted. We all, especially after this weekend, we've all met our people again. And I have bipolar 1 disorder. I was diagnosed over 30 years ago. I have CPTSD, childhood PTSD, as well as regular PTSD, OCD. There's a lot of us that are neurospicy. I've recently learned that term from another speaker. And so I spent 3 years agoraphobic. I didn't really leave my house. My children grew up and went off, and then I lost myself. A friend brought over a little hermit crab in a 10-gallon tank one day and asked me to babysit it while she took her kids on vacation. And this little crab was on gravel rocks. And I mean, we know the stories. We know how we find our crabs. And I was one of them. So for 2 weeks, I sat looking at this little critter and I'm like, what does it do? It doesn't do anything. And why is this a kid's pet again? Because it's not doing anything. Fortunately, I'm a farm girl, so I knew something wasn't right. My instincts were telling me that this is no life for anything. And so I gave it a piece of banana. And for the first time in 2 weeks, I seen it move. And it ignited something in me. I'm like, okay, this critter needs me. It needs me. And with my kids being gone, empty nest syndrome was in full effect. And I started researching. I got very fortunate. The very first group I found was Elkos. And I told this story at CrabCon last year, and I have to put it out there again. I'll never forget the very first post I made in Elkos. I had just put the crab into a frog tank. And I was getting rid of the gravel rocks. But I'd also put in a branch, and it was the first time I'd seen the crab climb something. So I posted this picture. And one of our beloved members, the first thing they said was, what is up with that substrate? And I just immediately deleted my post. And I was like, that's it. I'm done, because I'm introverted. And I was like, and felt like I had to know absolutely everything before I could do anything, which was, we are our own worst critics. We are our own worst enemies. And so I just... I'm also ADD, neurospicy. So I became obsessed. I became obsessed with researching, and I needed to understand. Like, if after 2 weeks of looking at this crab on fish gravel, I knew something was wrong. How is all of this hermit crab stuff going on? And it kind of clicked. It's because those of us who connect with hermit crabs, we are so shy and we are so reserved and anxiety riddled that we don't speak up. And I thought, the more I learned about what the plight of the hermit crab was, the more I felt compelled and passionate to go and rescue every single one of them. But how do I do that when I can't focus, or my depression's at a 6-month low, or I'm manically excited for a few days, and then I get, I'm going to do this, and then I crash. So I thought, how can I do something? I mean, I'm just a person full of all of these issues and problems. And I mean, how? Then I remembered the banana I put in the tank. And I was like, if seeing this little critter come out of its shell for the first time ignited that passion in me, that sent me to the depths of research. And thank goodness for Stacy, because Crab Street Journal had so much, even, back in 2018 when I discovered it, I couldn't get enough. And it hit me. Food soothes all of our souls. You go have coffee with a friend when she's having a bad day, or your mama cooks you your favorite meal because you've had a bad day, and I'm a big girl. I soothe my soul with food. So I thought, I'm going to emotionally feed these crabs. And that led to a whole new passion, because not only was I suddenly seeing this crab come to life, but I had something to talk about. I mean, I'm a mom. I talked about my kids. The kids were gone. They were living their lives, and I didn't have nothing to talk about anymore. Then I went back into Elkos, and I got brave, and I had educated myself a little bit, but I thought, okay, I'm not going to be intimidated. Well, here I am all these years later, and y'all still intimidate me because we are surrounded by some seriously brilliant people in this field, in all fields. We come from all walks of life. And so, hi, Mia. I started dehydrating foods, and I just had the one crab. But at the time, I lived on the coast of North Carolina, and somehow I had managed to go all these years living along the coast and not really notice the hermit crabs. I mean, I'm thankful for that now, because I've lived on the coast most of my adult life, and now suddenly everywhere I went, I was noticing hermit crabs. Kind of like if you buy a Tahoe, suddenly everybody drives a Tahoe. So I thought, how can I advocate? How can I share? How can I ignite? And I thought, I need to send foods. And back then, there really wasn't anybody making mixes, or I remember getting a little 1x1 baggie off eBay of coconut flour and little things like that. And then sometimes the crabs would eat it, sometimes not so much. So I got passionate about, I want to see my crab. I want to see it do something. I want to see it eat their little mouth parts. I mean, does that ever get boring? No. So it became a passion to see what ignites their interest. And it just hit me. If I can give these foods to people who have been having a crab on gravel eating pellets, they're going to experience the exact same thing I did. That, oh my gosh, what is it doing? And don't even get me started on the first time I seen it change shells, because it didn't have other shells until I found Elkos. And then I was putting in all the wrong stuff. And we won't even discuss how at one point I seriously thought maybe that crab could use a clamshell. Like, when I tell you I had no understanding of a hermit crab, I can't express how little understanding. So that's how we got to why I wanted to offer foods. And then I realized that the same kind of motherly feeling that I have for, my children and now my beautiful grandchildren, I felt that same motherly, nurturing, I want to save all the crabs. And what got me a little braver was I went to a little mom and pop pet store. I live very rural. So I found this little mom and pop shop, and I gave her some foods. And this lady had been running a pet store for 20 years and still had no idea that hermit crabs could be fun. It eventually led to putting in a wheel, whole display and everything. And I thought, okay, so how do I do this outside of my comfort zone? And it's all out of my comfort zone. So my mom the other old crab that some of you got to meet finally, she said, you need to, start a business, start an Etsy. And she had done it before with her crafts. And I'm like, I don't want to be a business owner. I don't want to be a pet store. I need to share this. I need to get it out. And it led to Just 2 Crabs. Here we are 5 years later, and I still constantly, at least once a week, I get a message from someone who, oh my gosh, my crab came down in the middle of the day. There's that passion. If I could get someone to just spend enough moments, I don't know how to describe it. I wish there was a word for it, but when your crab lets itself know, hey, I need you. You have a passion, you have a purpose. We're all so introverted and quiet. Hold on, I'm sorry, I have a message. I just want to make sure it wasn't for me. Can y'all hear me okay? Is everything still good with Stacy's laptop? Okay, good. Make sure I'm not yammering on. But yeah, it was all about trying to get brave enough to put something out there that I was confident enough in my knowledge to say, this is why this happens. And it took a while for it to all truly come together. So in 2019, when I heard about the first Crab Con, I've told so many of you it changed my life, and you just can't put into words what that means. But I remember sitting there, Debbie Scruggs, one of our beloved members, I wish she could have come this year. She also lived in North Carolina, and she said, I was thinking about going to this Crab Con. And I was like, I don't know how I had missed it because Elco's is the only group I was a part of. I was like, what? And then I wanted to hang out with my friend. And I was like, yeah, let's travel to New York together. Huh. That was anxiety-riddled Tricia, just nodding and smiling and agreeing. Sure, I'll do what you want me to do. And then we had a very long drive from the coast of North Carolina up to Lockport, New York. And this one woman was like, oh, you got this. Your foods are great. People are going to love you. It'll be fine. And you get up there. And much like many of you are experiencing now, I'm sure it was to be this anxiety-riddled hermit crab person, to get around other people who the energy, you just relax. Next thing you know, we're telling each other our life stories, and we've got this medical procedure coming up, and it's like we're family. That word shouldn't just be tossed around lightly, and that's what we are. We are a family. We are a passionate family. And to get up there to New York and meet all of these, to meet Stacy and Mary, I was fangirling. I'm like, I have a picture with Mary. And I'm not going to lie, I did the same thing yesterday. It's been years and I still fangirl. So what I want to share with this talk is, don't let your depression, your anxiety, your self-doubts, all those little things that we let creep in our heads. Mary is a hermit crab like us, and look what she's done. She's a hero. Stacy, taking over Crab Street Journal and turning it into what she has. She's my hero. And when you can hang around your heroes in your cutoff shorts and laugh and crack up and be relaxed, it doesn't get better than that. We found our people. I want to encourage you, be brave. These little critters, we're the only ones speaking for them. And they mean more than my anxiety. They mean more than my depression. And I'm not going to lie, COVID was hard, but being an introvert, it was fine. We all went down inside ourselves for a while. COVID's over and we got to get back out there. And I'm not, here I am these years later, and I still was telling my mom, let's just cancel. Let's just not go. We'll do online. And it's not about the shop. It just Two Old Crabs is my way of giving back to a very abused creature and giving myself a conversation piece, because I'm not brave enough to just go out there. And I've tried, don't get me wrong, I've tried, but I'm a sensitive soul. So when I left North Carolina, this mom and pop shop that I told you about, I wasn't gone for 6 months, and she put everything back the way it was. I wasn't coming. She was calling me once a week. We've got Ecuadorians, we've got strawberries. And I was helping her, get these crabs out. And as soon as I was gone, she went back to it. People can't see the crabs in the deep sub. It's sad. So my sensitive soul, I can't take it, but I can mail out plenty of foods with information and put it on a website. And when you message me and say, oh my gosh, my crab did this, strap in, because now I'm going to give you a conversation that's going to change your life. And I'm going to say, wait till you see it on a wheel. Wait till you see it with a curiosity cube. And I'm igniting that passion in someone, because if they changed my life, and I'm a military wife, I'm a mom, I'm a grandma, I'm neurospicy, it is what it is. And if they changed my life, they will change yours if you let it. Colton, the Curiosity Cube, that's made by, I'm sorry if I'm not saying this right, Cenobita Curiosities. Dan and Samantha make the little plastic mesh cubes that you put popcorn in. And I got one in 2019, and I'm telling you, I spent hours. The crabs will pick through that mesh to get the treat. And oh, phew, I can read and spell just about anything in the hermit crab community, but pronunciation is not my forte. So better look at the time, make sure I'm not yapping too much. So yeah, there is my story in a nutshell. And, I could spend days telling you about it, but my main goal is be brave, step out there, say something, because this is my second CrabCon in person, and it reiterated to me again, I'm in the right place with the right people doing the right thing. And if you're working for nature, you're not going wrong. You cannot go wrong if you start trying to help a hermit crab. It will lead you into so many other things in your life. And, be brave, come out of your shell. I have surface molted 3 times under stress since I've been here, but you all did too. So I can't tell you how much it meant to me to be brave enough to come here again and to be able to hug so many of you and to see yet again, we are all in this community. There's no anxiety once you get in the energy of your people. And I can't thank you enough for giving that to me. This community is a gift, and I am thankful to have all of you. So, thank you. Does anybody have any questions before I head off out of Stacy's room? Thank goodness she came to save the day. I love you so much, Mary. I mean, this community, this is my family. If anybody has any questions or anything like that too, you can also always message me, my personal page or my business. I'm brave enough now from behind my screen to be able to do that. So yes, a colony, Mary. That's the perfect word. And yes, I do ship to Australia. It's pricey, but they accept me over there. So yes, Colton, definitely check out the cube. And they'll even give you little extra straps to keep refilling your popcorn. It's anything you can give your hermit crab for enrichment. I mean, you got to think these crabs are used to ocean to forest and everything in between, getting to do whatever they want. And we stick them in this, here's what you got. So yeah, can't go wrong with adding enrichment things. And yes, get multiple. It depends on how many crabs you have, how big your tank is. If you know, oh yes, I would say about 4 cubes. They don't fight over it. I'm sure you've seen your crabs do the, booping away. If you get extra cubes, you don't have to worry about that because they love their popcorn, and you'll see a lot of the, I don't think so. Yeah, it does seem, but you're right. Most of us have huge tanks at this point. That honestly doesn't even cross my mind anymore, and it should. Hi, Suzanne. Nice to see you. It was so great to hang out with all of you again. Up your protein. Add lots and lots of protein in your tank. As long as you have lots and lots of protein and shells, if they're not fighting for resources, it should be okay. For now, I would highly, highly recommend whoever has all the crabs in a 40, I think it was. Sorry, sometimes this scroll goes so fast here that it's hard to. Yes, aggression will always happen without protein and without shells. I mean, that's nature. That's, if you ever watch crustacean plantation videos and stuff, I mean, they do that in the wild because they don't have the resources. So when they come across a shell, they're willing to fight to the death for it. Yeah, lots and lots of protein in shells and extra proteins. Don't forget there's protein not just in meat, but nuts. You can always, crabs love peanut butter. No sugar added, just plain stuff, but lots and lots of nuts. Yes, thank you, Christine. We have endless resources and information on there. Again, it's about being brave enough to speak up. Hey, let me direct you. Do you know about Crab Central Station, which is my go-to? Because thank goodness for Darcy and her girls. I'm like, if you're like me and you learn better on videos or by doing, instead of just reading research, Crab Central Station. Okay, anybody got any last minute questions? Or Mama Crab and I are gonna be hitting the road here shortly. So yes, I was so hoping to hug her again. Darcy, if you see this, hug. We love you. Thank you all so much for being here. And, I can't tell you how special we feel to be included in CrabCon. And I'm looking forward to many, many years of hanging out with you guys and getting to know you, and keep me on my toes. Keep me working hard towards advocating through my foods. I hope to be brave enough to go do these shows someday. But if this is all I can do for right now, that's okay too. So that's why I stayed, Kelsey. I got to drive through mountains, and I thought, and thank goodness I did, because Stacy came to the rescue. But thank you guys so much, and much love to you. I'm out of here. Safe travels to all of you.